What is up, everybody? It's Rev time. Hey, I get a lot of questions about how I would route my pedal board. Now, that being said, I know my pedal board's been on that pedal show, Premier Guitar. People have seen that, but what I realized is, there's points where I did talk about the actual order of pedals, but you'd have to kind of search through all of it. I mean, if you want to just hear my pedal board, then go check those out, because I'm not going to do that here. But at the same time, I've had so many questions about, well, how would you route pedals? And that will be the question I'm going to ask you guys is, how do you route your pedals? As far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely no rules whatsoever. Just do what works. In this case, I'm going to show you on my pedal board how everything is routed, but I'm not showing it to you as this is the rule. It's just this is what's been working for me over the years. My pedal board was wired by XTS over in Nashville. They're awesome. Eric was the guy that wired the pedal board, and even one of the things that he said to me, because we were talking about fuzz pedals and buffers and all, and how that gets messed up, and he literally just said, don't believe everything you hear on the internet. And he was right. I mean, I still went with what I wanted routing wise, but he was right. It's like, if it's working for you, then it's simply working for you. So I want to find out what's working for you, but I'll go ahead and show you how my pedal board is routed. In this case, I'm going to look over here because I've already forgotten what's on my pedal board. In this case, it goes guitar into, essentially, it's an interface. So it's guitar into that input of the interface. And I'm not going to go in depth of what that is, but it hits that first. And then out of the interface, the first thing that gets hit with signal, first thing in the chain, is the Octaland, my fuzz pedal. And that's what you're hearing, the slight breakup. And like I said, I'm not going to demo all the pedals again, but it starts with the fuzz pedal. The reason I wanted that to be first is I didn't want it to hear any sort of buffered input. So we hit that first. Out of that, it actually routes into the Koji comp. Now the Koji comp is not in a loop, and I have the Koji comp set to true bypass. So input hits the Octaland first. Out of the Octaland, it hits the Koji comp that can be bypassed via relay, but it is not in a loop. And then out of the Koji comp, then I hit the input, which is the brains of this whole thing, which is my gig rig switcher. In this case, the first loop in that switcher is the light speed. Why would I start with the light speed? I'm using the light speed more as an enhancer. Like, I can shut this stuff off. The light speed, so here's just no light speed, nothing. I shut the fuzz off. So the light speed is a push box. Normally, I would want that after my tilt, but it was a friend of mine, Chris Condon, that was like, hey, you have to hear that into your tilt. And I was like, oh, you are correct, sir. So that being said, the reason the light speed is first before the tilt is because I wanted to utilize the light speed just as I played it, but also have it hit my tilt overdrive just as some place to go. So after that is the tilt overdrive. And my tilt overdrive is always a start point for me. That's actually a little more gain than I would use, but that's the start point. And then I add things to that as I move along. And one of those things would absolutely be the light speed. So we've got tilt, and then, or I should say, we've got the light speed, and then we have the tilt. And then after that, right now, what's on my board is this this MEQ driver, Origin Effects. I'm not going to call it orphaned. It's on the board because I wanted to try it. I'm going to try it for something else. What's normally on the board is my GE7, which is an XTS modified Boss EQ. But I've got that on the board because I wanted to try it as an input to, like, say, the second channel of the D40. Like right now you're hearing my D40 clean channel. That's what I'm going to use that for. But that being said, the reason it's after the light speed and the tilt is because I want that to be my something else pedal as well. But I also wanted it to work good with the next thing in line, which is my highest gain pedal, which is the AT mod. I like to go from essentially low gain pedals into high gain pedals. Is that the rule? Nope. But that's what I'm doing in this case. So the MQ, like right now, the MEQ sounds pretty cool. It's got like this cool mid bark. My highest gain is definitely the AT mod. I can go ahead and hit that if I want. It almost sounds like a treble booster thing if I do that. So just really quickly, guitar into the input of the pedal board interface. I hit the Octaland first, the fuzz pedal. Out of the fuzz pedal into the Koji comp, which can be turned on and off via relay, but it is in line. And I have it running true bypass, no buffer. And then we hit the input of the gig rig. The next pedal is going to be the light speed. That's my lowest gain. Into the next loop would be my tilt overdrive, a little bit more gain. And then next is the MEQ driver. And then from that to my highest gain, which is the AT mod. So low gain to high gain. And then between all of that is a volume pedal loop. I don't have my volume pedal out, but that's where that would go. I always like having my volume pedal after my overdrives and distortions and fuzz pedals. So volume pedal would be next in line. And then after that is all of my time-based stuff. In this case, the Eventide H9 would be first because I like anything tremolo, chorus, rotary, whatever it may be. I want that to be very first. And then next, I want delays. And then after that, I prefer reverbs. Is that the way to go? I don't, it's whatever. It's what's working for me. But once again, I don't think there's any rules. I've heard guys with rigs that are completely the opposite of mine, and their tones are insane. And then basically after that hall reverb, I can run mono or stereo out, depending on what I'm doing. Right now, I'm just running mono. But yeah, that's kind of it. When I just sit down and play, that's the other question. It's like, well, if you just sit down and play, like, what do you turn on if it's not your tilt? And in this case, this may be a little too much reverb, but in this case, I like to sit down with a start point, which is like my clean sound. And I'll just add the Octaland. Okay, so what do you guys think? How do you route your pedals? I'd love to know. If you've got any other questions, absolutely. I always endeavor to get back to every single comment, and I love the fact that you take the time to comment. So please leave a comment below. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next one.